Did you know that the average worker spends over 90,000 hours at work over their lifetime? So it's no surprise that a job satisfaction or dissatisfaction can significantly affect one's life. Hello guys, welcome to my channel, Make Sense. I'm your host, Meg Nyaga. Today we'll be discussing a bit about the workplace. The workplace has changed rapidly over the last few years. More remote and hybrid work form models have sprouted, making the workplace not so simple anymore. One thing is for sure, work and life balance is now becoming more important to employees on all levels and job categories. Employees' well-being and mental health have become front-center issues after the COVID-19 pandemic. I shall be talking about some of the common workplace problems and some solutions for the same. Some of these work problems can make the workplace unbearable for the employee. Some of these are 1. Improper training strategies. 2. Lack of motivation. 3. Job description. 4. Improper systems of communication. 5. Working hours and schedules. 6. Staff disputes and bully bosses. 7. Negative performance evaluation. And 8. Unreasonable corporate rules. Let's take some time and go through each one of these one by one and discuss ways which we can come up with the solutions for the same. Training. By training your staff well, you'll be guaranteed to achieve maximum productivity by reducing chances of trial and error in discharging duties, which if not checked can contribute to unnecessary mistakes. Training should be considered an employer's responsibility. Training is a way to ensure that the worker or the employee is freshly engaged. It's an easier way to teach them of successfully tried and tested methods of doing things for maximum results without any blunders that may lead to unnecessary high costs of production and time wastage. For instance, for the working or employed or self-employed ladies who have families, we always ensure that we employ a domestic manager to take care of the house or the home while we are at work. Regardless of the domestic manager's previous experience, we always like to teach them how we would prefer to have things done in our own homes. This is because we are sure that that is the best way to do things to our own perfection. I must say, I got a chance to work with one of the greatest firms in, not so long ago. And to this day, I really appreciate this employer. The management believed in staff training from the word go. Any employee or staff would be taken through intense training right from induction. The training would involve learning the mission and the vision of the company, the core values, the products, and also the importance of everyone's role and how they could all work together to perfection. Other than the basic training done during induction, the management held a training calendar that was always planned ahead. It had different segments to cover. Seeing that we were a sales-oriented company, the employer made it a priority to invest in customer service trainings, sales trainings, teamwork training, and any other form of training that would make an employee to be the best version of themselves. Training is a company or an employer's investment that should be offered freely to an employee or staff member to increase their productivity rate. Motivation. Motivated workers are usually more engaged. They are productive at work. This kind of engagement is a reliable benchmark for determining the growth rate of an organization. A company with low employee engagement is likely to experience low productivity, which results in a drop in the revenue. If you ask me, motivation enables employees to put their expected energy into the work they are doing. In fact, study has shown that 70% of employees say they feel energized to work in areas where they are well appreciated, or to work with organizations where they are well appreciated. When we talk about appreciation, we're not just talking about monetary appreciation. It could be recognition. It could be the employer or the boss recognizing this person for what they have done and applauding them even in front of the other employees. Commending them is also another way of appreciation. The employee feels more appreciated in this particular space because they acknowledge that even if you were to give them money, it would not go back to giving exactly what they are looking for. They are looking for that acknowledgement that you have seen they have gone out of their way to make sure they do that which they expected to do beyond and beyond. I think for companies, you should think of ways of motivating employees through some kind of compensation. You can decide the compensation on which to give the employees. You can think of gifts for those showing a great output in making the workplace better, or those who have increased production. Any sort of appreciation would go a long way because that is the motivation that the employee is looking for. Job description. A well-written job description contains all essential details, that is the duties and responsibilities of the employee that help to understand what is expected of them. A job description acts as a roadmap for the employees, outlining their responsibilities, objectives, and goals to evaluate their performance. A poorly written job description may result in subpar performance. It's always good to cut out any ambiguity when it comes to the job description. For instance, when bringing someone on board to play the role of a front office assistant or receptionist, and you want them to double up as a cleaner, you must make it clear in their JD, that is the job description, and take them through it. Otherwise, you cannot reprimand them for not doing a good job for something they were not aware was in their job description. If it is a sales job, let the employee know that part of their duties after selling is to collect the payment on time to avoid any lateness of payment. If it is a domestic manager, let them know if they will be expected to make any home meals so that they are aware of what is expected of them. Communication. Leadership is a language of the art of communication. Information travels both ways in any organization, from top to bottom and vice versa. Hence, communication between the superiors and subordinates should be constant and also vice versa. This is because silence within a company can be fatal. When this two-way communication is impossible, a huge gap opens up and creates no room for feedback. Communication is vital in any organization. This will keep employees abreast of what to do at the right time and with minimal errors. Having an open door communication policy between the management and subordinates can employ an important role in improving the workflow and the communication. Having been employed for more than 20 years, I've had a chance to work with different employers. Some of them had an open door policy where communication would flow two ways. The communication from the management to the subordinates or the employees and vice versa. In this case, you always find that there is feedback being given to both sides. So both sides have a way of implementing this feedback, either taking what is beneficial to the employees as well as the management, and vice versa. So there's a way of leveling, because this one is striving to do their best and this one is striving to do their best. The employees felt valued because their contributions were taken by the management. Some of them were implemented, and they felt like they had ownership, that this was their company, that this is their home. And so anything they do to the benefit of the growth of the company. I've also had a chance to work with employers who it was their way or the highway. Communication happened only from the top. You know what they call bottoms up? This one was top to the bottom. Now, you find that in this particular case, down there is chaos. There is some form of laxity. People don't care. They have a don't care attitude. They are rebelling. They are doing whatever they want because nobody wants to listen to them. At the end of the day, you find that the management is the one that's losing because productivity is on a nosedive. Productivity is not even happening because people do not have any sense of direction. They are doing what they think they should do to their minimalist, if I may use that kind of English, or to their most minimal effort. So if you ask me, where there is an open door communication policy, there's a win-win, both for the employer and the employee. Working hours and schedules. Working hours can influence the performance at the workplace. Overwork and associated stress may lead to health issues such as lower back pain, disturbed sleep, depression, heart disease, amongst others. Good companies must offer flexible scheduling, allowing workers to handle their obligations even outside the workplace. Flexibility helps workers to manage hectic lifestyles and work-life balance and feel less stressed and anxious. I'd like to give an example on this. One time, I had to pick up my daughter's report book. I informed my supervisor that I'll be late the following morning. Being a single parent, I have always had to juggle both roles in my life, being a good parent as well as a good employee. That morning, after being done with school, I got to the office to a very nasty email that had a heading, "Frequent requests to report late." My boss had written an email to the HR complaining that I usually ask for permission to do other things like family. You can only imagine how bad I felt trying to balance my job as well as my parenting. I once read a book by Stephen R. Covey, and I remember the heading of this book was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of the takes in it, he was talking about some of the 7 habits, and there was being proactive, having the beginning with the end in mind, seek first to understand, then to be understood, synergize, sharpen the saw. And one thing that I actually took out of it was put first things first. So in a jar where you have important things in your life, there is your family, there is your job, there is your health, there is all these other things. If I was to look at all this between my job and my children, or my job and my family, of course, my family would come first. The reason why I'm going to work is for this family. So if I cannot be there for my family, then there's no point of me being there at the workplace. Now, having worked with somebody who is also a family person, yet they can write an email like this to the HR, you can only imagine the kind of demotivation that I felt. I felt devalued. I felt humiliated. I felt like I was being put in a box. More so by someone who should be understanding me more, because this is my direct supervisor. Now, such people end up being the demoralizers of the employees, because next time I might have another issue just immediately after today, whereby one of my children needs medical attention, and I am the one who is supposed to be there. Will I not go because my boss thinks I have frequent requests? No, because he would have taken time to understand that I need to do this. For them to write such an email was quite insensitive. Anyway, having understood people and having had to understand this kind of personalities, I made a way to find peace in my heart and just move on. But if you ask me what I think about this person, I have several different opinions, which we will not cover at this point. So, work schedules and working hours are very important. Try to understand the kind of employee that you have. What are their responsibilities out of work? What kind of family setups do they have? So that you can make judgment when they need you to give them some time off. That way, you'll always have a win-win because you will always be putting their needs also first, other than yourself. Staff disputes. People have different opinions and perceptions concerning certain things, which is quite normal. Individual differences are key, and each individual always seeks to outdo the other. This can be a challenge as well as a blessing. However, teamwork is crucial. Strive to create an environment where employees can interact with one another, share their difference of opinions and ideas, work together towards the growth and development of the company. This can be done while ensuring peace and harmony. One thing we need to understand, even in a marriage setup, two people come together having been born and brought up in different family setups, family values, and ways of life. Yet when they come together to try and raise one family together, and they will both implement what they've brought from their different upbringings to raise this family into one perfect thing. So if we apply the same context in a workplace, we all come from different backgrounds. We might have the same kind of degrees or same kind of qualifications. However, the way we interpret our skills are different. Always strive to sort out disputes immediately, because any dispute that can be left for long, having not been solved, can really affect the workflow. A difference of opinion does not necessarily mean a dispute. Try always to tap in the sense out of the difference and put it together to create something that is good for both employees and the workplace. However, disputes will always be there. One thing about a good company, you will always ensure that the disputes of employees should not affect the workflow. Bully bosses. The number one reason people leave their jobs is because they don't like their boss. A toxic boss exists in nearly every work environment in the corporate world. A survey done shows that 61% are aware of the bullying that takes place in the workplace. 60 million are affected by the workplace bullying, and bosses comprise of 61% of bullies, and 65% of bullied employees lost their original jobs when they tried stopping the bullying. Most importantly, 40% of people targeted by a bully boss experience stress-related health problems, including anxiety, panic attacks, and clinical depression. How do you handle a bully boss? Well, I would like to tackle that topic on another day. However, here are a few tips. 1. Shift your focus from your boss to your job. If I can give a personal experience, some years ago, I had been experiencing a bullying boss. And this boss used to affect me so much because he always found a way to get to me. He always found a way of, making life difficult for me. It got to me to a point where at some point I was very unwell. I suffered so much from acidity because I was always worried and fearful, stressed out. I was always feeling bad because of how I was being treated. I mean, it's like this guy had won. So one day I decided, you know what? I won't let this person get to me anymore. At the end of the day, what is the worst he can do? The worst he can do is kill me or fire me. So I decided to continue. I decided to put in effort in my work. And I went out there and got the best sales that I could. And I have been managing these good sales for quite some time now. Now, at the end of the day, this bully boss feels a bit, he feels like I sort of cut him short because his strength used to come from, oh, you do not have enough numbers, oh, you're not doing this right. I beat him at his game. I made sure that I perfected my own art, and therefore he tries to look for ways to bully me from different platforms. So, one, shift your focus from your boss to your job, and understand the bully, understand what his insecurities are, because most of these bullies are just insecure, and most of them are manipulative. They might be very cruel to you, but when you're with others, they sort of show like they're part of you, they're supporting you, they're your support system. But you know very well that these people, they do not wish you well. That is my definition of a bully boss. Two, I said understand the bully. At the same time, set silent limits. Let them know that they cannot go beyond a certain level of bullying you. You have to find a way of fighting back or drawing the line. The other thing I would say, other than setting limits, is set verbal limits. You have to fight for yourself at some point. Let them know that you know that they are bullying you. Let them know that you're uncomfortable with the way they are doing things. Even if they might take a difference of opinion, at least you've told them and they know that you know. You should also build a network. Build a network because you'll find out you're not the only one he's bullying. He might be bullying other people around you. So you can form a network whereby you can talk of ways that you can support each other, become each other's support system. And if worse comes to worse, you need to tell the management and the HR about the bully's behavior. Somehow, even if they do not do something about it, at least they will know that you filed a complaint against the bully. So I won't go so much into this. There will be a topic for this on its own. So I'll leave it at that. At the workplace, people have different personalities like we have understood. However, bullies are everywhere. They're in schools, they're in workplaces, they're in so many other places. I mean, we even have bully cops, They are the people who you run to when something is happening to you, but they are the same people who will also bully you. So find a way to cope with them. Ask yourself, do you really want to want to be here? If you want to be where you are, then you must find a way of coping with the bully boss. Performance evaluation. Encouraging an employee for their contribution is a good way of showing appreciation for their work. Employees form part of the stakeholders in a company, even though not directly, providing companies with valuable ideas, hence they feel part of the company. Employees like to applaud each other or to be applauded for work done. They look forward to getting reviews from their employer on their performance for encouragement and drive. It helps to give a positive review, and even though the employees have performed poorly, it is important to make them feel encouraged and motivated so that they can be able to pull up their socks. During performance evaluation, I'm sure every company has this. what happens is you get feedback from the management on your performance. If you've been doing well in the sector of, what you're meant to do in production, they will let you know. And they'll tell you you've done well to this point, you need to work harder to get to this point. Or if you're excellent, they'll tell you you're doing well, keep doing or keep going where you're going. At the same time, if you are not doing well, the management is supposed to advise you that on this sector, you're not doing well. For instance, I've always had a challenge with late coming, one way or the other. I might come early for like 2 months, the next 1 month, I do not know what happens. I'll be late by 5 minutes, 3 minutes, and what have you. During my evaluation, my boss will tell me, you'll be doing well on ABCD, but on this sector, I'll give you a 2 or a 1. So you need to work on this. So every time I know that in my evaluation, I have done to this point, I need to work on these areas, I need to improve on this. But it's always good for the employer or the management to encourage the employee, because even if they are bad, they're not all that bad. What you can do is look for the positives, encourage them on this so that they will feel appreciated and put effort where they need to put effort so that they can be able to be better versions of themselves. Corporate rules and policies. Every company has policies which it follows. Sometimes not every policy can suit the staff. Some of them are just unnecessary to follow. This is not to talk down on policies, formulation and compliance, but from the angle of the employee, some of them do not do much creativity. When formulating company policies, focus on the employee as well, because they are the ones that will follow these rules and policies. If the methods are not within their workable standards and performance, they might not be able to execute their duties freely or well enough. Some of the corporate rules that I have seen, or corporate policies, they have been put because they were copied and pasted from a different organization. But all organizations work differently. You might find that there is a certain ethic of working, but some of the policies that are put in place, if you really take time to ask yourself, what was the point of this policy? Was it to frustrate the employee, or was it to take care of something in the management or in the company so that it does not go wrong? And some of them, when you look at it, yes, they make sense. And yes, the management is protecting itself, but at what expense? Sometimes these kind of rules can be very demoralizing for the employee. They might make the employee feel like they're not valued at all. You put the company first and forget that the company is not a company without the employee. A company is not a building. A company becomes a company because you have put people inside it who are the employees. So while setting corporate policies, always look at what works for the employee and works for the management as well. If it's something that has to be done, then find a way of striking a balance whereby both the management and the employee will not feel oppressed. So today, we've been able to cover something important that I'm sure a number of people may resonate with. Some of you may have a direct personal experience or know someone experiencing some of the common workplace problems. I've shared my personal experiences and some of the solutions that employers can implement to ensure they have a good workplace environment. This has been your host, Meg Nyaga, on Meg Sense, where I share my 2 cents to various topics in life. Please like and subscribe to my channel on both YouTube and Spotify, and leave a comment giving your own 2 cents. Suggest topics you would like us to cover together. And if you enjoy this type of content, please turn on your notifications on both YouTube and Spotify and get notified every time I upload a new episode. Until next time, toodles.